Hi guys, look, I'm on the phone again. Look, I'm on my phone again because
Hi.
because despite the fact that this is Monday when it goes up, Sunday when we're recording it, we aren't recording never mind. Not much we can do to fix it. We aren't actually recording our Generation 3 lists because Richard's not here. So that kind of sucks. But luckily, I was prepared this time. I don't know why I've got the camera completely focused on you and I'm the one talking.
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to
This
me.
time, I was more prepared because I sort of anticipated that we'd start skipping dates again. So I have prepared a bunch of ideas for backup videos just in case. So today and next week, you will get a backup video. This one is going to be a rather cool one because it's a theory that
We've made.
yeah.
Or at least, pretty. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it before.
No, neither have I.
If we're stealing your idea, tough luck.
It's called coagulative brain functions.
Yeah, let's just go.
I couldn't entirely remember the phrase where it's like people who have no connection coming up with a very similar thought around the same time, like without access to the ones.
There's actually a term for that.
I'm pretty sure there is.
I will have to Google it later.
As will I, because like
We really both need to do it.
Yeah, we do. Because it's like when Game Theory did the Humans Are Pokemon one, and that guy Proto Mario had already done it,
Yeah.
and they just happened to have the same idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a term for it.
There's a principle that we learn about in biology. Where did that happen? Oh.
I'm sorry, I had to lift the blinds up a bit. You were really, really dark.
But there's some sort of mechanism to do with plants, I believe it was. Where that happened, and they can't separate like the theorists behind it. So yeah.
Oh, whatever. I'm going to call it coagulative brains. So, Andrew, would you like to introduce this theory?
No.
Oh. Okay. I just thought you would, considering you're the one who sparked it.
No, you can do it.
Okie dokie. So, Andrew was, like, questioning whether the Pokemon universe has our real-world animals in, as many people probably have done, thanks to the confusing Pokedex entries and some parts in the anime and whatnot. Some of these entries were things like Ghastly and Raichu both mentioned Indian elephants in Fire Red and Leaf Green.
I think it was just Fire Red.
Oh yeah, they have different entries, but never mind. And then there are things like Mew being said to have been discovered in South America. I was trying to remember the actual place. I wanted to say New Guinea or something, but I don't know if that's right. So South America. And you know, there are all sorts, and they mentioned Mount Everest, I'm pretty sure, in some
I'm sure it's Everest.
Everest? Really?
The mountain is named after the guy who first climbed it.
Really?
I believe. So I'm not sure why it was named after this person. I think it's a person who, I don't know. But yeah, the guy's name was Everest.
Oh.
So the name of the mountain is actually Mount Everest.
Huh. I did not know that.
Not many people do.
That's actually kind of interesting. Hey, that's a little bonus thing for you guys. So, anyway, Andrew, after finding a bunch of these Pokedex entries that mention real-life animals and such...
Credit to people who had already done so on Bulbapedia.
There you go. After looking at all these, he concluded that real-world animals must exist in the Pokemon universe.
You simply can't call things mouse Pokemon without there being mice.
Yeah.
And other examples which are very similar.
I hadn't quite gotten onto that yet, but that is another thing, how Pokemon are classified. You know, they have their name, so Pikachu, but then it's got a classification like mouse Pokemon or fairy Pokemon or
Yeah.
turtle Pokemon or whatever.
Mm.
So, Andrew eventually concluded that these things could not be if they were not actually present in the Pokemon universe.
Especially things like the Indian elephant example, because
Yeah.
they can't base it off what it would do to an Indian elephant without having Indian elephants. You can't even approximate that.
Yeah. I mean, not only does that mention a real world place, and a real world animal,
Yeah.
so. Anyway, that left me racking my brain because I don't like things like that. I don't like things that are unexplained. So, I was racking my brain trying to think of a reason of why they would be there and we just don't see them.
Mm.
So, we came up with the theory that real-world animals do indeed exist in the Pokemon world, but they cannot exist on what I am going to refer to as the Pokemon Islands, because let's face it, pretty much every region is just situated on a small island.
Yeah. Full of Pokemon.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to refer to them as the Pokemon Islands. They cannot exist there because the Pokemon that live there are far too powerful for the regular real-world animals to even think about competing for food or surviving being hunted.
I've just thought, what about things like Sunkern, which could never outcompete anything?
Well, I mean, it's got grass-type moves.
Magikarp then. Splash.
Magikarp evolves into Gyarados.
It
Eventually.
has to beat things to learn into to evolve into Gyarados.
It beats other Magikarp. Don't muddy this theory up, Andrew.
Yeah, I've just thought as well, Pineco.
Yeah.
What about things which aren't animals?
I mean, I assume they actually do exist in the Pokemon universe, because we do see things like flowers and that.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
Muck?
Muck's mutated sewage.
That's true. Yeah, this out-competing things on like this note mustn't apply to everything, but that's...
Yeah. I mean,
there are other explanations.
I'm just talking specifically millions and millions of years ago when they were first starting to evolve in the first place.
Yeah.
Some of them have somehow evolved to be fire-breathing lizards, and others evolved to be less fire-breathing lizards.
Like Cubo.
Well, I'm talking like real-world animals in this sense. Like,
Yeah.
some of them evolved to be regular geckos, and some of them evolved to be lizards that turn into dragons. So anyway, I'm not going to bother trying to explain how this sort of evolution would work, because quite frankly, we've done enough thinking. But yeah, that is the reason that they reference real-world animals, but real-world animals are not present on these Pokemon Islands. Now, you might be wondering, well, where the fuck are they for them to know what they are? In our real-world countries and continents, they exist. This theory goes that they would exist in the Pokemon universe, and they're just on Pokemon Earth.
Yeah.
And they just do not have Pokemon, or do not have Pokemon in a high enough amount to worry about, or maybe eventually they decided, yeah, pest control, let's get these guns.
Yeah.
But
do they have guns in Pokemon?
yes.
Okay.
They totally have guns in the
Oh
Pokemon
yeah, I
world.
remember that lady on the beach, didn't she? She had guns.
Well, I'm just talking specifically about, like, I mean, if you want to go for the anime, there were episodes banned because guns were being used in them.
Yeah, there's a lady on the beach with them.
Oh, was
as far as I remember.
Huh. I just remember the safari guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He pointed a gun at Ash's face. Some people nowadays wish he had pulled the trigger. Anyway, so, either way, I lost my place now. Yeah, real-world countries, that's where all the real-world, like, dogs and cats and elephants and bugs and whatever are. The reason the inhabitants of the Pokemon Islands know of these animals is because they are not indigenous to Kanto, Johto. I don't want to say Pokemon Islands too much because it sounds weird. So, they're not indigenous to these places. They are settlers, because it is no secret that back in the day, people enjoyed empires.
Yeah.
Whether they were inhabited by Japanese settlers, European settlers, whoever, it doesn't matter. They are settlers. The indigenous people who were around with Pokemon long, long ago, such as AZ from Pokemon X and Y, many of them anyway, much like Native Americans or Australian Aborigines, died out due to the diseases that these foreigners were bringing along. The natural people who evolved alongside Pokemon in the Pokemon Islands, they sorry, I have something in my throat. They were like the inspiration of how these travelers, how we now catch and train Pokemon. They saw that these people were training Pokemon as pets or as battle...
like hunting companions.
Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes sort of the reason that the humans that evolved alongside the Pokemon didn't die out is because take a look at fucking AZ. He survived for 3,000 years. How do you kill that? The myths, such as Sinnoh myths, were just things that the surviving indigenous Pokemon people have kept and have been found and all things like this. So they do not apply to, the current inhabitants of Kanto, Johto, well, I guess it's Sinnoh more specifically. It would also be why, they have so many myths about, like, Arceus and all these things. I refuse to say Arceus, it sounds too clunky to me. And, like, how we relate, like, the current inhabitants relate that to God and all this stuff, is because it's like a merging of theologies and stuff like that. I'm not explaining it very concisely, but I hope you get the idea.
It's not something that we've sort of nailed down solidly. There's still work to be done on it.
Yeah.
I think we've laid all the groundwork. If other people want to carry this on, then you can go ahead, but...
Please do.
Yeah. And get back to us if you do, figure out anything interesting or at least hypothesize anything interesting.
Yeah, because, as well, I mean, we spent quite a while after first coming up with it going over holes in it.
Yeah.
For example, the travelling Pokemon.
Yeah, like, things like, anything that will migrate, like, bird Pokemon. Wailord is specifically cited as swimming in vast oceans, so there's, like, it doesn't state that he goes a long way away from, like, the place that he's indigenous to, but it implies strongly that he does.
Yeah.
And we basically had to consider why they don't, like, if the Pokemon are so much stronger than, we'll call them regular animals, then why don't they wipe the regular animals out wherever they go? But, we just thought either they're too docile, sounds a bit weird considering the idea presented prior, or there's just too few of them. Like, this is somewhere where the regular animals have now gotten to grow strong independent of Pokemon.
I mean, we can't forget the fact as well that in between the regions of Pokemon, there is quite a lot of space and they differ a lot. Like, for example, Hoenn being more tropical.
Yeah.
So migrating Pokemon like Wailord, or the bird Pokemon specifically, is what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
They have places to go that aren't completely separate countries. And obviously with more generations, we're going to get more regions introduced.
Yeah.
So, it's not like they're short of places to go, basically.
Yeah, supposedly.
Then there are also things, such as mentioning that Horsey, in its Pokedex entries, it was Horsey, right, that grabs onto Coral in strong tides and that. Carl! But anyway, far enough out of these regions, there would probably start to be like this boundary where real world animals and Pokemon start to sort of blend before they go out. So coral and regular fish and stuff like that probably could exist somewhere around there without too much issue.
Especially around things like Love Disc, which couldn't possibly make anything extinct.
Exactly. Anyway, we have gone over quite a lot of the problems that we ourselves noticed with this little theory, and we tried to rectify them as best we could.
I don't think we found anything that we couldn't find some sort of solution to.
Yeah, same.
But then again, we did stuff without exploring all of the possible options.
Yeah, that's true, but I think for now what we've got is fairly concrete.
Yeah, how many hours can we be expected to devote to this, man?
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of a spur of the moment thing as well, let's not forget. Because it's just like, okay, it's bugging me that they mention real world animals but we never see them. What possible explanation could there be?
Yeah.
Oh well. So yeah, that's... Sorry about that, guys. I got a phone call while I was recording.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't change much because we were pretty much just wrapping up anyway, so...
You can always figure something out in editing, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally just probably going to tack this onto the end of the other one and maybe cut out the little bit of speech it interrupted.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we were saying, we made it as... we made it as concrete and loophole-free as we possibly could. But obviously, someone who the person who creates the thing in question probably is not the best person to criticize it.
Yeah, you always, when you write, it's always best to get someone else to proofread.
Yeah.
Because you'll miss your own mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what you were trying to say.
Exactly. So, if you notice anything, let us know. If you think this is a good theory, let us know. If you think this is shit, let us know. I mean...
You might hurt our feelings, but...
Yeah. Either way, I apologise that I couldn't be quite as forward and direct with my points as maybe I should have been, and maybe as how I was in the Naruto theory, because I had a little more time to figure that one out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yep, I can't think of anything else to add to.
Okie dokie. Bye, guys.
Ta-ta.